Ninath, are we holding on or should we start? I don't know. You need to tell us.
Yes, ma'am. Everyone has joined. You can start.
I'm sorry, everyone's joined?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any absenteeisms? Because then we know which we don't have to talk about.
So I'm waiting, ma'am. I'll just check with them and I'll get back.
Awesome. Hi, students. Welcome to the Common App Essay Workshop. We do have a presentation, but unfortunately, we're overexcited to talk to you all more about your essays, your topics. So we're not going to really go into the presentation. Here's what I'm going to tell you, though. What we're going to do is a great amount of fun. We are actually going to, so the forms that you filled, we've sent it to one of the essay specialist counselors, which is Priyanka and Amy. And we've sent the same forms to our student specialist counselors, which is Rishi and Mahita. We have not discussed anything amongst ourselves. Mahita, show your face as well. So which means that when we take up your name, Amy and I may give a different feeling of what we think your essay could be, and Rishi and Mahita may have a totally different perspective. Or it could be we all have the same perspective. So the interesting element here is we're as surprised as you are going to be. But what is more important is by reading what you've written, we are trying to find what makes you unique. And why thus should that be your Common App essay? So it's very possible that you'll see us fighting amongst ourselves, or we're very happy if you want to join us and ask questions. Of course, because we're nearly 12 children that we ended up having to take 12 to 13, what we will eventually have to do is kind of break the gong at about 8 minutes and not take it further so that everyone gets an opportunity. At the end, if we have time, we'll definitely do a whole question and answer for you. If we have the time, that is. So, Ninath, can you just open to the prompts page? So children, what we'll do is we'll keep the prompts of the Common App open here. So at any point of time, perfect, Ninath. These are 3, and there's some more on the other page, I think. Ninath, can you show the next page? So these are the 7 topics that we have, okay? More or less, we're not giving you the exact prompt where you need to write. We're giving you an idea of what your essay needs to look like. Okay. So Ninath, can you just move on to the contact page? So at any point of time, you all know that we are hosting, we do workshops, we have special packages which are related to only essays, only Common Apps. So if you want to reach out to us, you have the details. With that, let me start the introductions. Ninath, may I start?
Yes, ma'am, certainly.
Awesome. So first, I'm going to introduce Amy. Amy is someone I got into work with and realized I have a great friend. Amy is a Canadian, looks Asian, I know, and living in India, married here, vegan, very, very, very in love with cats, but most importantly, she sees words beyond anything. I love her essays the most. Obviously, her children get into top colleges year after year after year. Let me then introduce you to Rishi. Rishi is, I will not call you little boy because he reminded me he's 6'2", but he's going to study chemistry, does very well for himself simply because he knows his weaknesses and his strengths and very willingly understands his weaknesses. What I love about him is his joy for life and bringing humor into other people's life. Beyond chemistry, I think he'll make a great writer. Let's talk Mahita. Mahita has got into nearly every college she's applied. She has a fascination for biology, medicine, PSMD, and is one of the most simple, humble human beings who I think is going to bring a huge change into the medical world because of the sensitivity and empathy which she brings out. So with that, then there's me. I'm a journalist by profession, also the founder of Admission Specialist, Managing Director at AcceptU. If you ask me what I love doing the most, I love working on essays. I absolutely find it fascinating. So frankly, I think the four of us are more excited than hopefully even y'all are. So let's start this with a big bang. Amy is going to take her bunch of students simply because she has to leave as well. And I
Yeah.
don't want to delay her for her lunch. So Amy, you choose your student. She's going to pick one student.
Mhm.
Ninad, maybe we can just shut the presentation and actually just see everyone. That'll be more
Yeah, that
fun.
would be great.
Yeah. Ninad? Yeah, perfect. Children, y'all are more than welcome to show us your faces. It's great fun. Keep yourselves muted, except the one person who Amy is going to be talking about. That person can unmute themselves.
Correct.
Amy, start.
All right. So, Hansika, hello. Hi.
Hansika,
Hi, Hansika. How are you?
perfect.
Hello, good
Awesome,
morning.
Hansika.
Good morning. All right. So, Hansika, when I read what you had filled out in the questionnaire, something that really stood out to me was you definitely seem like somebody who has zest for life. Now, what do I mean by that? Everything that you wrote about was both about, one aspect of perhaps overcoming challenges, but then the silver lining in that, like what you learned from it. So
Mhm.
on top of that, you also started out, I think when you were introducing yourself with writing about how, while you might be quiet in class, you're also the loudest in the room, right? So I really enjoyed that. And I think that entire paragraph, once again, really showed me how you are somebody who really does embrace everything that life brings your way, right? You're able to face those challenges. So something that I thought that you could kind of write your essay about was being this person who embraces both the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and appreciates all of it, right? Absolutely everything. So I kind of see your essay being something along the lines of, while you might seem like you're full of contradictions, life is full of contradictions, and you are capable of seeing and appreciating everything that life brings you, right? Now, you did write about a few challenges, right? And this is where I think writing about the challenges, but then the direct opposite as well of like overcoming those challenges and being filled with joy, like that image of you putting your head out on the sunroof of your car, things like that, like that really stands out to me. So maybe even starting with that would be a really powerful image. So that's kind of what I thought you could write about. And on top of that, when I read that you were undecided, I think it makes complete sense, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. What do you think?
I'm undecided because honestly, I feel like anything I put my mind to, I can turn it into a career. So I
Mm.
really don't know what to even pick to begin with.
And I think your essay could be about the fact that you are somebody with a multitude of interests and a multitude of perspectives, right? You have
Right.
that, yeah, that you have that versatility. And I think highlighting that as a strength is incredibly important. Why? Because life is about like having and appreciating everything in it, right? It's not just black and white, it's all the grays and complexities in between.
That's true, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's the student who's doing Hansika?
That's me.
Hansika, we literally don't know. Okay, so Rishi is your student specialist.
Okay.
Rishi,
Uh,
go for it.
I don't think I have anything else to say. My super legit, comprehensive, super serious notes have nothing else to reflect. So I was gonna say the same thing. You can write about how you've faced like so many challenges and like you've always seen the silver lining and you've always come out as a better person than you started out with. And like that's a super tough thing to do. That's very tough. I can tell you that. And uh I have seen that you have a flair for being creative on PowerPoint. That's super tough. I'd like to take a master class from you for that. But like you can like brag about your skills actually. You can just go, okay, I've been in like odd places, but like I've always come out on top because like the stuff you've been through is terrifying. And at the same time, how you've come through it, like everything you've gone through and how you come through it is like super cool. So like you can
Thank
totally base
you.
your essay off of that.
So
Thank
I
you.
have a question, and Hansika, you can ask questions, and children, y'all can ask questions. That's the whole point of the workshop till the gong rings. So is it turning out to be a very serious essay? I haven't read her form at all. I hear Amy, I hear Rishi. I love the contradiction, the softest and the loudest. the challenging and the silver lining. But is this turning out, Amy and Rishi, do you think it has to be a serious essay or a softer, intangible essay of happiness? I don't know. Where are you guys going with this?
I see, because of how she's written in her questionnaire, like Hansika, the way you wrote was so, it felt like so effortlessly cheerful and positive. And I felt like because that's the tone I think that you naturally gravitate towards while you're writing, we'll just use that, right? Because it's not every day that you find somebody who writes with such positivity in whatever they have to say, right? So I think because it seems to come quite naturally to you, I think it would be more of a cheerful, light sort of essay where we highlight these contradictions and how these contradictions exist in life and the things that you've gone through, but you always, the thing that remains true, right, and steady throughout is the positivity and strength that you have throughout.
Yeah.
Rishi, you agree, disagree?
Yeah, I think it's like gonna be a mix of like sort of serious and sort of like lighthearted, because every single time I look at every one of her paragraphs, it's always like the plot line in like a TV show, I guess, you know, like climax resolution.
Yeah.
It's always like
I love that. And
that.
Hansika, you literally can say climax equals to resolution as your header of your essay. You know, seriously, this is how ideas come, Hansika. And remember that, beta. It's very important to remember, don't make it morbid. Because no one wants to read a morbid essay. No
Right.
one takes a morbid essay home to discuss with their partner and say, oh, I met this girl today in her essay, da da da. But they'd all love to take an essay of contradiction back home. Okay.
Right.
Any questions, Hansika?
Nothing. This was super helpful. I feel like super clear in what I have to do now. Thank you
So
so
good.
much.
I'm so glad. And see, children, it takes 5 minutes sometimes to get clarity if you all have the specialist. I'm not trying to drive commercialness here, okay? Any children who have any question before we move to the next then? Anyone with a question, please feel free. We're trying to make this very inclusive. Okay, cool. If you have a question, just raise your hand or unmute yourself, okay? Amy, you want to move to the next one then?
Yeah. Next is
Thank you, Ms.
Sachi.
Amy. Thank you, Rishi.
Oh, no problem. Our pleasure. Sachi next. Hello. Hi, Sachi.
Hi, yeah,
Hi, Sachi. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. All right, so Sachi, when I was reading your questionnaire, I think that what I appreciated was how succinct you were, and it seemed quite clear that you knew exactly sort of the achievement that you were most proud of. And something that I also would be quite proud of if I were you was the fact that in the Indian School Debate Society, you had qualified for the national, I guess, like at the national level, correct? So I think being able to write about that as sort of the process of, you know, what got you interested in debate in the first place. Now, what was quite interesting to me was you also wrote about books and reading, right? How you love reading in your free time. Now, how would perhaps books and reading and your love for books and analysis, and the reason why I mentioned this, because the book that you chose to write about was really interesting, right? It's not just about a straight forward sort of narrative. It's about presenting different sides. Now, what do you do in debate?
Yeah, so you analyze both sides of it.
Correct.
Of
So
a
this is what I
situation.
thought. I was like, you could write your essay about how reading, right, and being able to understand different perspectives has led you to become a natural debater. And therefore, how that led you, how you took the things that you read in novels, remembering different perspectives, and how that helped you in, you know, qualifying for, you know, the national debate selection, which is great, a really big achievement. So that's kind of what I thought you could write about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Who's the student specialist here?
I got Sachi.
Got
So Sachi, firstly, it was so interesting reading how books affect and implicate to you as a person. And I felt like in an essay, they try to see who you are as a person firstly, because your extracurriculars, your academic achievements, everything is what you put down. But in your essays, how they see you as a person. So I thought if you could really put how books influence you as a person and how they made you the person that you are today, no matter what you faced in life or how they've just helped you grow as a person today, I think that would really help on it. And add on to what Amy said, you can also include the debating aspect in it at the same time. That's what I felt about your essay or whatever form I read. Yeah, the books was the most interesting part though.
Yeah, for sure. I really enjoyed, again, the fact that you wrote a little summary of what you had just read that was super interesting. I think, again, it just highlights and shows how you are incredibly analytical, right? And you are able to appreciate different perspectives, and reading does that 100%. I agree. Yeah.
So children here, we don't know what her major is. We have no idea. So I'd want someone to hear the guess. I heard the words analytical. I heard the word reading. I heard the word debate. Can anyone guess what her major would be? I agree with Mahita. Don't over focus on the academics. Focus on your personality. But anyone, just unmute yourself and guess what her major would possibly be.
Political science, maybe?
Okay, Hansika goes political science. Anyone else?
Yeah. Anyone?
I'm gonna guess something on the law side, I guess. I don't know.
Law. Ooh.
Okay, cool. Sachi, do you want to kind of elaborate?
It's actually very far from what you guys said. I'm doing computer science. I want to do computer science.
Yeah.
Okay, Rishi, I get you. Yeah, so see, this is why, children, we are doing this so that you'll understand. A lot of times in India, we end up throwing this on your face that, oh, you want to do computer science, write computer science. They not necessarily make the best essays. I'll take a quick example here. One of our children who's gone to Stanford, computer science, her essay starts with, I love colorful things. And she speaks about black, yellow, gold, green, purple. It eventually boils down to the, it starts with colors and eventually boils down to her favorite colors being black and white, which is how binary code or the laptop is. And that's incredibly fascinating. So Sachi got a very clear student and essay specialist. It's books. It's all the way books for you, Sachi. Okay. Any questions from anybody here or you, Sachi?
Yeah, so I think what like books is again like a big thing, but I think one thing that is common between debate and books is the fact that perspective, right? How like perspective is such a fascinating thing to think about. So if my essay revolves around different perspectives of life, could I, like, instead of just restricting it to maybe books and debate, could I bring in like real life, like along with it, like how I see something versus how I've talked to other people, and then they say, well, like how disagreements and how when you were when you're conversing with other people, you realize that you disagree on certain topics. So that sort of makes you think about the different perspectives that people have. So keeping perspectives as like the central topic, it would sort of include my passion for talking to other people. Like I'm a big like extrovert kind of a person, so my passion for talking to other people, my passion also about somehow sometimes just staying quiet and reading a book, and sometimes just debating on being like in front of a crowd or in front of another team and debating. So I think that brings in three different like aspects of me together. So would that be a good idea to do all of that?
Amy,
Yeah,
you go first.
I think why not? I mean, I think you're right in the sense that the overarching theme that kind of connects these different activities that you enjoy is about perspective, right? Now, whether you want to write about you gaining perspective through conversation, whether you want to write about it through debate and reading, I don't see why not. But the main thing here is for you to have a clear message, right? So if your message is that I am somebody who enjoys and embraces all forms of perspectives, right? And the way that you're going to show that is by writing about things like debate and reading, or just even like conversations, right? The different perspectives you've gained through conversation. I think that it's just important to make sure that what you're saying about yourself and who you are is very clear.
Mahita, agree or disagree?
Agree, but also to add on, I think you can specify on the contrast, like how you live a life within books privately to yourself, at the same time in a social circle. How you can do both of them at the same time, I think that is also something you can highlight in your essay and point out that you can live both the lives. Because reading is something that you do on a quiet and contrary basis, whereas social life, like you said, you're an extrovert, you like meeting a lot of people, and how you relate the two of them. your your personal life at the same time meeting people on a social gathering, that contrast can also be a key in your essay as well.
Yeah.
Can I disagree if that's okay, Amy, Mahita?
Yeah, of course.
It's a 650 word essay. Be very careful. I almost always feel when children, when we think of something in our head, it sounds really fair. But whenever I feel we've got children to write down, they get lost. And when we have to cut it and bring it down to 650 words, we end up take a tiny slice of your life. This was actually one of the questions we asked. Remember, it's not a book you're writing. The tinier you go, the more chances you have to bring depth. Be careful about that, Sachi. So you've got 3 different versions from us. So I think I can see a gong roll here. So we'll need to move to the next. But Sachi, great question. And this is what I like. Children, ask your questions because you lose out otherwise.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll answer questions later as well. Amy, next one, please.
All right. Anish. Hello, Anish. Hello. Hi. Hello. I can't hear you, Anish.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Anish? All right. So when I had read your questionnaire, I was really struck by how self-aware you are, right? It seemed like you really understood a lot of details about who you are, what makes you everything, your strengths, your weaknesses, right? Now, what really stood out to me and things that kind of I noticed were repeated were, the fact that perhaps you have dealt with a lot of anxiety and specifically around like public speaking, right? Now, you're not alone here. I think a lot of people struggle with something like this. But what you had written, I think, about things that you're really proud of is what I found really interesting was you created Blueprint, right? Now, what I think really would be great to highlight in your Common App is perhaps talking about a way using Blueprint, right, as a way to not just help you overcome your fear of public speaking, right, but also how, because you understood the power of kind of creating a community around, advocacy, youth advocacy, and making sure people could come together and generate, new and interesting policies, right? And how we could affect policies. How that also would help others around you, right? Develop the skills necessary to become good public speakers and, support one another and boost a student's confidence, right? Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. So in finding, right, your platform and founding your own organization, you further developed your own voice, right, to be able to help others, right, discover theirs, right, through this Blueprint organization. Now, you also wrote in depth about perhaps one of the worst moments of your life, and I appreciate your honesty. And it had to do with, performing or being asked to speak at a Bestie Day, right, and how you just froze, right, you couldn't. I think starting out an essay with that as perhaps the image of you freezing and not being able to say a single word, to you doing something about it, channeling that fear, right, and overcoming it with other people, like supporting other people through Blueprint would be incredibly powerful. All right. Yeah, so that's kind of what I think would be a great essay. And I think it really does also complement the major that you're interested in, right? It definitely shows leadership and initiative and problem solving skills as well. Yeah.
I love your answer, Amy. And, I thought of Mollin's essay. Do you remember?
Yeah, of course. I actually also did think of that one.
I will share that with Anish later.
Yeah.
Student specialist. Mahita, we can't hear you, sweetie, anymore.
Hear me now, Auntie?
Yes, Beta.
Yeah, so as Amy said, along with her point, I think leadership was one of the best things that I read in your form. It's really attractive, especially if you're taking business administration, because I chose that as my major and I saw the role that leadership plays in it. As selection or as you are, if you're a leader, I think that attracts them to it more. And also you mentioned once in your form about how your father quoted to you about leadership and that also changed you as a person. I think you can include Amy's idea as well as mine and in 650 words similarly, but show a transition of yourself from being, a little awkward or more shy, and how your father influenced you to change, and how you brought about leadership in your daily life. And you changed that into your sport as well, considering that you're passionate about football. How that changed you in your sport at the same time in life, how you saw leadership as a way to channelize yourself and get yourself better. I think that can really make a really good essay, especially for business administration, keeping that in mind.
So
this was one where we actually got two different versions. So this is exciting. I love the friction. All right, Anish, what do you think?
So yeah, I actually agree with both of them because yeah, so she Amy said that like that I take Blueprint and I use it as a way to show how I've improved public speaking and my confidence, and how I tackle anxiety as a way. But then Mahita, she said that basically my dad did inspire me about leadership. He did quote that when I was young, and then it totally changed the way I thought about who I should be. And it's a repeated sentence that he tells me all the time. He told it to me last week, actually, about how I should be a leader, and then how I should be the one to direct people. And that's the true quality of an entrepreneur, and how it really matches with the majors I've taken. And the quality is not only.
Did I lose him, or has everyone
Yeah,
lost
I
him?
think I also lost him.
Quality of leadership that I show on the field, it really stands out, because I'm always screaming at players, you have to do this, you have to do that. I'm the one who instructs people, I'm the one who commands people, I'm the one who directs people into doing certain things. So I think it's like leadership is like definitely something that should really stand out in my essay and show how dominating I am as a person.
Careful, show it, don't tell it.
Okay.
And dominate can be a passive aggressive word or an aggressive passive word. So I have an idea here. Children, you guys can also please, chime in. Don't have to be boring and listen and say, oh, they are the presenters. I have an idea, Amy. Do you think he could have done it like a question answer, his essay? Mahita and Amy both, I haven't read his form, I have no idea. But like the question is, or a statement, father, and it says do da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then Anish, this is what I did. I followed this to this, did this, did this. So it's like it's like a father, son, and then
son.
eventually father and son become the same. They're saying the same thing. I think that would be very fascinating to see, because without saying my father influenced me, your
Yeah.
essay says it. So
that's really
father,
cool.
colon, da da da. He says, be a leader, be the director. Son, on the football field, ready to lose, 5-2 is the score. How do we win? I start screaming, I get aggressive, I'm motivating. And, the finish line, it's a draw. Something like that would be very interesting to see. What
Yeah,
do you all think?
It'd be
Amy,
quite
Mike?
different. Yeah, that
Right?
format is definitely different, and it would definitely cause readers or whoever is reading your essay to pause and actually like probably take in your story a little and pay a bit more attention, right, to what you're saying.
Yeah. So Anish, you need to write that down. Remember this. So it's basically a father, son, father. Mahita, you agree? Disagree? I don't know why you keep disappearing, sweetie. Yeah.
Can you see me now?
I
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah. But apart from that, I also think that you use the word dominance, but instead of that, you should be able to portray yourself as a person who carries along the others along with you as a team football player, right?
Yeah.
So if you highlight that, I think especially for business administration and entrepreneurship like you chose, that is something that, it'll highlight a lot in your essay.
Okay.
So like Priyanka Aunty said, you can do that as well, but keeping leadership in mind as the highlight point there.
Agreed. Fair. Any children wants to get in, or do we move to the next student? So sad. Okay, children, please do open up. Okay, Amy, next then.
I have Stuti. Am I saying this wrong? I'm so sorry.
Ninad, Stuti, do we have this? I can't see Stuti here though.
Okay,
Ninad.
maybe it's not Stuti, then maybe Samkit.
Samkit,
Hi.
are you here?
Yeah, hi.
Okay.
Hi, Samkit. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Nice to meet you. All right. So Sankit, when I was actually reading your responses, there was a very clear theme, and the theme was physics. Unsurprisingly, you are crazy about the subject. It seems like you really eat, sleep, breathe it. And honestly, when I read this, especially when you were writing about how upset you were at your parents for preventing you from carrying forward some rocket that you were trying to, a rocket experiment.
Yeah, I was trying to build, I was generating hydrogen, and my chemistry teacher had asked, my chemistry teacher called my mom up and said that's too dangerous.
Yeah, like for like obviously safety and even ethics, like what are you doing with hydrogen? Why are you trying to create a rocket? So honestly, when I read this, I was like, wow, he sounds like a mad scientist, right? Like truly a mad scientist, but in a good way, in a positive way. So something that did stand out was you also wrote about how you're someone who tends to start a lot of, has tons of ideas, all right? And the one project that you have, I guess, followed through to its completion is the renewable energy walking project, correct?
Amy, we couldn't hear your last line. You might have to repeat it.
The renewable energy walking project, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So I actually thought perhaps you could take us through in your essay like a bunch of different experiments, and in these experiments you'll be highlighting different facets of who you are, like your values or your personality. All right, so with each experiment or project, whatever you'd like to call them, we get to understand and learn about a different side of you. That's kind of what I thought you could write about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some of the experiments haven't been completed, so that's what the problem was.
I think that if you write about one experiment that isn't completed, that's okay, right? Because as in to kind of highlight the fact that you are somebody who will continue working on things until their completion, right? Whether or not they're complete or they've been completed, sorry. Yeah. What about anyone else want to add anything?
The student specialist, who's the student specialist in the case
It's
of
gonna be me
Sanket?
again.
Got it, Rishi. Go for it.
I think we're at an impasse here. So actually, as I was reading it, I developed a massive respect for this man. First of all, just simply using the forward osmosis and electrolysis of salt water to generate hydrogen, that's super tough. I'm gonna tip my hat to you. But I was actually thinking, as I was reading your essay, I've seen you integrate physics into a lot of things that you do in everyday life, like winning a game of squash, using like doing brain teasers, like get better, like, physics and math and stuff. So I was thinking, why don't you make it like an essay where you talk about physics, but you also talk about how physics has like helped you improve in everyday life. Like, it's like a good Daft Punk song. It always complements, every part complements the other. So yeah, you could do that, or you could just write about, physics and how much it means to you in your life. Am I saying the same thing again? I'm saying the same thing again. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, so just you can like write about how you've integrated physics into your everyday life, like, because like that's a lot of cool stuff I've seen here. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that one form. Wow.
Children, what do y'all think? Y'all heard Amy, y'all have heard Rishi, you've heard Sanket. What do y'all think? And it would be really nice if someone says something. And Mahita, including you, anyone? What would you like to see as the essay? What do you think is fascinating? Shloka, Akshat, Avyay, I see so many children here. Why are y'all not opening up and talking?
We're having a Schrodinger's cat moment.
Yeah, seriously. Mahita, what do
Can I
you
say
think?
something?
Yes, please, Anika. Thank you.
So you mentioned you haven't finished an experiment. You could, like, if you were with some of the structure that Amy mentioned, you could also talk about an experiment that you want to do and what you hope to discover with that, or what you think it will bring to you.
Interesting.
Maybe the last experiment could be like university. Sorry, like going to university is the final experiment before you end your.
Oh, I love that.
And what are you going to be experimenting with at university? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I actually like that the most, Sanket. I mean, if it's a whole experimentative, so you You kind of take physics as your joining line, para to paragraph, but your end is, the experiment of physics at university. And you can go, go imaginative. Imagine yourself in the lab. Imagine yourself doing the experiment that you want to do. Imagine what's going to happen there. Is the faculty going to come running up to you, or, or I don't know, or what is the end result? Like Anika said, that what do you discover? What is going to happen? How is it going to impact? It's really exciting. I'd like to see that as an essay. Some
Or
good questions. Yes, Rishi, move
you
on.
could like also add some humor into your essay if you wanted to. Like you could say, okay, I'm gonna try not to blow a hole on the face of the earth by doing something cool in my university lab, like extracting uranium from the dirt on the ground.
I love that. I mean, that's exactly what I was hoping for. It just the mad scientist kind of stays on then. I really like the way Amy coined that. So if you think of those two words, and if that's what the admissions officer can take back, remember kids, 2 words. If the admissions officer can take back 2 words of your essay back home, you're a winner. So the mad scientist is awesome. Great. Samkit, questions?
Not really. I think, yeah, I got some ideas for the CE prompts and everything. So to write about those. Yeah, but like, do we have to follow a certain like narrative structure, or is it like, can we write? So if I was to write about experiments, do I have to write it in chronological order or something, or can I write about them individually?
That depends on like actually how you end up writing. It's a little bit difficult to do. Sometimes when you're writing, you'll find that having a structure outlined before you write helps. Sometimes it doesn't. So it really depends on your writing process, right? That
But
you'll
to
have.
answer your question, you don't have to follow a structure.
Yeah.
You can keep it as fluid as you want.
All right. Thank you.
Great. Anika, thank you for joining in. We felt so much more included. Otherwise, you all are just names, black and white names, because even the faces are no longer visible. Anish, Avyay, Harika, Anisha, Hansika, Shloka, Akshat, faces, join in. Nice. Thank you, Anish. Thank you for listening. Amy, next.
All right. Ira. Ira. Hi, Ira. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So while I was reading your questionnaire, 100%, the thing that, or what you had written about that really stood out to me was your arts and activism club. You had held some interactive event, correct, about inclusion at school, where you clearly talked or described, how you got everyone to dip their hands in paint and all of that. So I actually thought perhaps you could write about, well, when you start your essay, this is what I see. I see perhaps like describing the art project without actually telling me what it is, right? Or what it meant and whatnot, just describing what everyone did. And then talking about the importance of like inclusion and diversity in your eyes, right? And how, because it's so important, you decided to, you're so passionate about it, so you decided to start an art and activism club at school. Right. I think that being able to document your journey as someone who perhaps maybe it's like a particular event, or maybe it's a series of events that have led you to really understand the importance of diversity and inclusion. You could kind of give us context in your essay before you even talk about the arts and activism club. Yeah.
Okay.
Student.
It's me again.
Okay, Rishi.
That actually lines up into what I was gonna say. So what Miss Amy said, absolutely true. You should do that. But another thing I felt when I was reading this form was that I noticed a lot of compassion for every living being, because I noticed you've adopted 3 cats. You prefer like make bonds with people through like doing like cool stuff like baking, watching cricket, not getting into fights over lip balm. Yeah, like whenever I read this, I was like, okay, cool, this person is like a nice person. You have a lot of compassion for everything. So I thought it could be an integral part of your essay, because like the things you do like to show your compassion are like super cool. It actually lines up a little bit with what I've tried to do in my essay. I've So my common app essay was how writing and literature has helped me become a better person. You could do something similar. You could say, I okay, hold on, I'm having a brain freeze. Yeah, you could just like say about like talk about like things that make you a more compassionate person, like baking, like adopting cats, or like making a cool cake as your first homemade patisserie dish, uh doing the inclusivity activity, which is actually super cool, very compassionate thing to do. So along with what Miss Amy said, you could like make compassion a big part of your essay, because what they want, what like someone from the admission department wants to see is a more well-rounded person, rather than one single activity. So along with this, along with the inclusivity voluntary activity thing that you did, which is a very big part of your essay, you could talk about how you are as a whole person.
Oh, I love both this time, and they're very different. Neither are similar from any angle, Ira. Children, Mahita, you heard them also for the first time. What are you feeling? Can't hear you, Mahita.
Can you hear me now, Auntie? Yeah, as a person who personally loves to bake and cook in general, I think that would really be something you can highlight. And like Rishi said, just show the basic small things instead of going towards more of academics or extracurriculars, the basic small things that make you you. I think those can seriously be highlighted in your essay as well. And maybe use cooking or baking as a way of helping or mediating to help other people as well. I think if you can make that addition as well, it should be really good.
So this is the first time we've got totally, entirely different essays, Ira. Totally different prompts, totally different essays. Be conscious of what you want to use. But remember, you have supplements. So the art and activism is a very solid essay, because it's something you've done, something you've packed in. The ability is, if you could work with the right mentor, to show the softer side of you. Like, I love 3 cats. I've adopted 3 cats. If that's not happening, if you are constantly having to tell that you're compassionate, it's a horrible essay.
Yeah.
Okay, so be very careful about this one. Unfortunately, and which is something we were all hoping will happen actually, is where we all come to like, I'm tending to feel Amy's essay is safer to write, but I agree with Mahita and Rishi that the essay that makes you unique is the other one. So you'll need to work very carefully for this one.
Okay.
Question, Ira, any question?
I don't have a question.
Oh,
Yeah.
does anyone else have a question? Sashi, did I see you raise a hand?
Yeah, I had like there's another idea. Like this is like art is what I heard a lot from that, and I heard inclusivity too. So this is a very like symbolism. It incorporates a lot of that. So cooking is an art too, right? So you could sort of describe every person as a different painting or a different form, like a different art piece, and then how they're different, but they all come under art. So that brings in inclusivity, art, and cooking. I just thought that was kind of a cool way of putting them together.
Very nice. Thank you. Very nice one. Ira, again, we're not making your life easier. All these essays are going to be super tough. But she has a point, and I'm going to give you a quick example of one of my children. So he actually speaks of cooking in chemistry, loves cooking. So he does not say salt. He says, what's the word? Is it sodium something, Rishi? Sodium
What?
chloride?
Yeah,
Salt
sodium chloride
is,
salt. Yes.
right? So he says, oh, mix sodium chloride with the benzene liquid or something.
Oh,
And then,
benzene was actually toxic.
correct. So whatever, something he speaks about. And eventually it actually turns out to be an Indian chicken curry, and how he just reflects on his entire experiment at the end. And then his mother walks in, tastes, and says, oh, it's burnt. And he says, no, don't say burnt. It is dash, dash, dash in chemistry. And that's how his
Aha, it's
essay,
combusted.
something like that. Okay. Basically, that's how the essay ends. And I thought it was the coolest, cutest essay to show your love for cooking and your love for chemistry. Ira, all the best, my love. Sorry. All right, Amy, you want to move to your next one? I know you have very few limited time. Is that your
Yeah.
last, Amy?
I think that is my last, correct.
Awesome. And then I'll take on my children. Okay. So please don't disappear, kids. And those who have finished, don't leave because we're going to be doing a whole round of Q&A with you all as well. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you so much, everyone. I just wanted to say this has been super interesting for me as well, Rishi and Matika, that all of your insights have been really helpful. It's actually really nice just to have, different perspectives, and both of you bring really, really great insights and perspective and understanding to how you write your Common App and how do you pick a topic, right? Because what I might think would be an interesting topic might vary slightly from you, but all of these are wonderful ideas. So thank you so much.
Are you done, Amy? Was that your last?
Yeah, that was my last.
Okay, so kids, do you all want to say something to Amy? You like, don't like her approach? Anyone unmute, talk. Let her go to her lunch happy or sad, but give her some reaction. Don't be flat panned.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Amy. I found your insight super helpful, and I'm sure I'll, make a great essay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. No, that your questionnaire was brimming with ideas and brimming with emotion. So thank you for filling out your questionnaire and writing with so much emotion.
And that's why the questionnaires are really important, children. So
Yeah.
ask yourself these questions. So with that, we can say bye to Amy. Amy, have a great lunch. Meet your friends.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to take on now my students.
You guys.
So here's what I'm going to start with. Okay, I'm starting with Anika from Anika. Who's Anika? Anika, unmute yourself. Say hi to me.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I couldn't. I can now, though. Where are you? Okay, perfect, Anika. So let's start with you. Anika, I go a little differently. So I'm looking at your college, your dream colleges, and thus I also know what you need. I love the fact that you have turned around and spoken about different countries. You were born in India, 4 Buenos Aires, Argentina, 2 years, Santiago, 5 years, Spanish, 7th or 8th years, Johannesburg. If I take away your movement and your migration, I take away you. But at the same time, I don't want it to be an essay of, oh, I've lived in 7 different countries. That's boring in my mind, or common. And I like to say what I find common and what I thus want to see different. Now, here's what I was thinking. And I'm going to quote the opening line. To me, the opening hook is everything, Anika. So in my mind, your essay would be, have you ever thought how every country has its own way to write alphabets, but all use the same way to write numbers? Have you all ever thought of this, Anika? It's so unique, right? And that's your opening hook. And that's what I want your essay to be. I want you to reflect how every country has made you look at numbers in a different way. Okay, now I'll give you an example. One of my children's essay. Okay, whoever that is, please can you mute yourself? The essay, so they talk about in Africa. Oh, sorry, Anika, was it you? Don't mute yourself, unmute yourself.
Background noise.
No problem. So in Africa, what happens is when you ask, where are you? In India, if you ask, where are you? You will say, I'm next to this building. But in Africa, in a specific small little village, they say, I'm northwest of this building, which is southeast of that thing. That's the way they talk of directions, right? So it's a very different cultural dialect, and every country has a different way of analysis of numbers. Some have superstition, some have reflection. I'd love to see your essay be about this. Again, Anika, not an easy essay, but it's just something that reflects your love for math. You're looking at the top colleges. You have to be able to stand out and not write. So your story is whether about the wasp bite or not liking lack of discipline, is even hiking somewhere. There's so many children who do it, even your econ club. Okay, but I would love to see if you could have bought something like this. into your picture. And again, I'll share with you a story, and I love my stories. This child actually goes to first time to an American Costco. And then what he picks up and how each one of them connects to his passions. And it's a beautiful, beautiful essay. I think she is now finished her master's at Harvard as well. So this is a very beautiful example of mine. Now, who's my student specialist here?
That is me. You
Is
can
that Mahita? Okay, Mahita, bring it
hear
on.
me? Yeah.
Yes.
So I think mine's a little contrary to what Priyanka aunty said. I think my emphasis was more on, you wrote one of your best moments was with your family during your time. And I think shifting from place to place so constantly, you must need to focus on the love and bonding you develop within your own family, with your sister and your parents. I think that can really be something you can write on, because I think shifting places constantly, you'll be shifting your environment, your friends, and everything. And how that built you up as a person as well is something you can write. And in general, also without your relatives and without your extended family around, how you and your immediate family, you adjusted to circumstances and built on bond and love, that can also be something you write on.
There we go. Back to friction. I love it. Anika.
Fight.
I know, this is really fight mode. I love it. Anika, so we've given you 2 stories, but children, we'd love it if you all jump in and tell us what you all think. Like when you all hear both stories, what are you feeling? What is going to be an essay you'd like to read? Anyone? Come on, kids, don't be a bore.
Also, one thing to add on to Anika, as much as you write either of the essay idea that Auntie said or I did, do mention and specific diversity, because I think colleges give great importance to it. I was writing one on diversity as well, and I think you'll get that in your supplementary essays. They specify and they're very particular about diversity because they're very inclusive, and they want to see that, how you've embedded that in yourself. So that's one thing you can key and mainly write about as well.
Agreed, but not make it boring, because you're going to be another 60% of the students who have diverse backgrounds. So
just be an element of what you write.
Agreed. So you're right, Mahita. I think both of us there we agree is that, Anika, we can't separate your diversity from you. So how you bring it into your application, not necessarily the Common App, is what will make it unique. But anyone else? Rishi, what are you feeling just hearing us?
I think more than diversity, I'd read an essay which talks about adaptability, which is something I've like noticed a lot when the captain and Mahita were talking, because you move to different places, you have to adapt to different environments, you have to adapt to different people, and that's something that universities look at a lot, especially for international students, because you're going to some place which you don't know at all. There's people you don't know at all. You have a different president. You have weird people in supermarkets. And you're going to have to adapt to living with people like that. So adaptability is super, super important. And being able to show adaptability in a way that's not boring and in a way that appeals to the person ahead is super tough. So the safe essay to write would be the captain's. But if you're able to incorporate adaptability and diversity into the safe essay, there's probably nothing stopping you.
So actually, my essay would have been, Anika, about adaptability. If you think it's showing adaptability, how you moved with different countries to realize how they look at numbers is different, and thus you adapted that system. So that's what I'm hoping for. That is there something unique that you've learned from every different country while looking at math or engineering? Yeah, so that's, it's the word.
Yeah, so the subject-specific question that I have, math, that's been the recent discovery. But because I've moved around, I've had the cultural exposure that's been has the most lasting impact on me. And obviously the adapting to everything and the mentality that has brought in my life, that's been also very crucial for who who I've become. So I would like to mention adaptability, diversity. But do you think I should be mixing so many things in one essay, or should I focus on one?
In my mind, you're not mixing anything. Mahita, I'm answering first. You are speaking about literally in Chile, okay? And you talk about something new that you were exposed to the culture there and how you adapted and took that further. So when you move to, let's say, Joburg, there was something completely new, but you managed to take a little bit of your Chilean self. And I remember you talk about, the whole annual fair with amazing 25 food stalls. And you could probably show me how, you used a little of that cooking to win the hearts at Joburg, but because you didn't have an X spice, so you added the Y spice, and it was banging on flavors. Now, this is adaptability. So you can go your way to bring the adaptability. But the difference is, while Mahita is showing the core of everything for you, who you're holding on to, I am saying not the core. I'm saying the new things that you're holding on to and taking on with you. So which is why it's radically two different essays. There's just no ways that, I love it. And I knew I will always be on war with my kids. So this is how we always start, but it's super fun. So don't think you're writing too many things, beta, because underlying your feature will be core, family, love, values, which have supported you through the 12 different zones you've traveled, or uncore, the new things that you've picked up and winged as you move on. So there's literally just two things that you have to pick from, and then your essay has to flow with that. I know I'm making it sound simple. It ain't. I know that.
Sorry to interrupt, ma'am. Anika has got just one moment.
Dong.
Oh, absolutely. All right. Yeah, that's the gong. Anika, should we move on? We can always come back to your question. Oh, I always knew a little delay. Okay, Amy was so good. Okay, let's move to Harika. Harika, can I have a raise of hands and voice? Harika.
Hi, ma'am.
Awesome. Harika. So again, Harika, big names in your college list, econ and math, something you love, but also you love swimming. Now, I tend to find swimming or time management, or, even while we're talking, we have some 3 swimmers in this small little group. But what I loved was your statement that says, if you end up hearing someone listening to music at 2 in the morning, that is most likely me. Love it. That's unique. That'll make the admissions officer smile, because she or he might also be that. Or they may know a neighbor who does that and they're like, oh my God, another one. And then you speak about Legos, again, with the same passion. So here's my, sorry, I'm over creative with my ideas, but I try to explain them. Here's what I would like you to do. I'd like you to do music and Lego, and the essay would be connect. Okay, your header is literally connect. So it says, when you look at a box of Legos, what do you see? You see different colors, you see different sizes, you see different shapes. And then after 3 hours of following a pattern of 65 different instructions, you make a perfect architecture. It's the same with music. And I'd love you to show me how, the chorus of the R&B to the Carnatic music to the vocals of blah, 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 and you combine them together and how it makes pure, perfect architecture. And thus, that is who you are. So it's a very beautiful you becoming the perfect architecture of various shapes, sizes, colors, and versions. So that, in my mind, is your essay. And that's how you kind of talk a little about your keyboard. You talk about your economics. You talk about your volunteering on Valentine's Day, the Hindi song. But don't move away too much to describe yourself or your elements of what you've achieved. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather see those in the activity section. But here you kind of just talk about your Lego and music together. And I think it makes a very unique essay. Who's my student body? Student specialist? Is that you again? Okay, Rishi, go for it.
I see we aligned oddly well with this one. So the only thing I have to add is, when you see music, there's always parts to a composition. There's the starting, there's the build up, there's the climax, then there's a resolution, there's a chorus again. There's so many things that have to line up to make a good piece. And there's so many Legos that line up to make a good structure. And there's always an order. There's an order that has to be followed to make, sense. And so that nothing sinks into chaos, like that one time I tried to build a car with my Legos. So, yeah, like you can talk about how you always look at building things up and breaking them down again and building something completely new from scratch. And that's like, that you can also make an analogy that, whenever I break something up and build something, break something down, build something up again, it's like I'm trying to, I'm not afraid to change myself, I guess you could say, because like, whenever I write, I'm gonna make an analogy here. I think it's easier for me to explain that way. Whenever I write, I always break my character down, put myself in the shoes of another character. So I'm not myself when I write about something. You could say it sounds like I'm a maniac, but that's how I write. So the will to break something up, build something, break something down, build something up, it like you can show that you're a diverse person, you can show that you're always looking at improvements, you can show that you're not afraid to change, and that's like a big thing. That's it can be part of a good essay.
Love it. So beautiful. So we're together, but with a different version of the togetherness. So that's amazing, because that's true. At the end of the day, you don't have to tell that you're not afraid to change. But if you can show me that, oh, I actually combined R&B and Carnatic to see what will happen. It was complete discord. But when I added the instrument of like a flute in it, or I added a Hindi song to it, and it, breaking and then eventually building to a perfect architecture again. And same with Lego. So I made the robot, but I was like, can I make this into a garden? So it just, Harika, where we're going with this is we're trying to show a very beautiful connect. The breaking and building and changing and willing to change eventually leads to connect. So Harika, questions?
No, ma'am, I think that was really, really helpful. I wasn't able to figure out a perfect topic for what I wanted to write, and this
Nice,
was honestly very helpful. Thank you
well
so
done,
much.
Rishi.
Thank
Children,
you.
what are y'all thinking? Anyone wants to comment on this? Like it, don't like it, love it? Y'all can even tell us that. We're humans. We're hungry for affection. Nobody.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first read this form, I remember this song I have in my rock playlist. It's called Break It Down Again by Tears for Fears. Akshat, you should listen to that. Very good song, very good guitarist.
I know the song.
You know the song?
Yup.
Finally.
What do you think? I mean, I may be old, children, but that doesn't mean I don't know everything y'all know. Almost. I can't do social media. All right, I'm assuming nobody wants to. Mahita, what did you think, sweetie?
Again.
No.
Now?
Yes.
Yes, so I really did like the idea of both the connects, and especially music. I obsessively listen to music, 2 a.m. I relate. So I think that was very, very exciting to write about. And I think a lot of people will relate on that. So that's something they will carry with themselves by the end of the day.
Exactly, Mahita. That's the whole point. What do we carry with us? So nice. I'm assuming no one wants to comment. Ah, sad. Okay, we'll move on then.
Friday.
Did someone say something?
Oh, I think Harika's saying something.
Harika, sorry, beta, we are not being able to hear you.
No, I was just saying thank you, nothing else.
Oh, thank you, beta. Palak. Palak?
Ma'am, Palak isn't here actually. She's facing some network issues. I'll let you know once she joins.
No problem. I'll move on then to the next
Yes,
kid. Akshat. So Akshat, again, big fat list of colleges, and the scariest, your major is computer science. Now, when we talk about computer science, I'm sorry, I'm bringing my counselor cap on here. Akshat, are you there? Can I have?
I'm here.
Awesome. Can I see your face?
I'm sorry, my video is not working at the moment.
Oh, I wanted to see your hair. Okay, no
I
problem.
wanted to see his big water bottle.
I want to see his hair. Okay, so Rishi is my child to connect here. Okay, Akshat, send us a photo with your long hair, short hair, and water bottle. Okay.
Sure.
And your guitar.
Yeah.
The guitar, okay. So here's what I'm sure we're going to be on war here, Rishi and me, but let's go for it. Here's what I love. I love the aspects that you're really quirky. But as a counselor, I also know that colleges that you apply with computer science, they're nerdy and geeky. So somewhere they want to see what are you doing intangible and how do you connect it tangibly to your essay? Like I told you about that Stanford girl, I'll tell you about my Carnegie Mellon girl now. Yes, Akshat, they're all girls. Live with it. The Carnegie Mellon girl was an international level swimmer, and I wouldn't let her write about swimming. So here's what she did. She said, okay, when she trains for 5 hours to 6 hours a day. So she speaks about the different strokes. So when she is doing the butterfly stroke and how it is like a code. So she speaks about Java or Python and how in her mind she's solving the same thing. So like the movement of the back, the front, and she connects it seamlessly with a code. And she moves on with 4 different strokes in the same way. And then at the end, when she holds she gets the bronze in the international, she looks at it and she's like, oh my God, that's the answer. And she runs away to solve that app, which actually ends up needing, was it a UIX something end code? Sorry, I don't know. I don't understand computer science, but that's how she ends her essay. So in my mind, I was thinking about something like this. I was connecting your hair. So I would like to start with this summer, I went punk. So the short crew cut, I was out in 5 minutes. Everyone thought I looked really cool. It was exactly like that game, whichever game that you might have made through an easy bot, and how 75 people who played it and said, oh, it's so cool, it's so interesting. And you know that it's such a short code and such a short time to make it. But then came the internship that you did, the bot you created, and that's then going to your long hair, right? Oh, yeah. So did you forget to shampoo? Did you have split ends? Was it like the problems you faced while making it? You know, similar. So it's a very, it's quirky because we're describing your hair actually and your visits to the salon. But we are also, while you're at the salon and your hair is happening or not happening, in your mind, you're this crazy computer scientist. Yeah. And you are trying to say, and then, you know, you've actually literally just walked out while that man is looking at you and like, excuse me, 1/3 of your hair is not being cut. You know, so you've actually had those weird moments. And it's okay if there's a bit of an imagination there, but it would be quirky and an interesting way to see it. So this in mind was my essay. And of course, you know, you also speak about the Minecraft, and that would be the end in my mind that, and if you want to see me, you know, with my unusual haircuts, do look at my YouTube, which is actually not about the haircuts, it's actually about the Minecraft, where I speak about da-da-da. So in a way, it's not just imaginary. Your videos can actually have different parts of you with different hairstyles or your bottles or whatever. You speak about your quirkiness. So that was my idea. Rishi, go for it. I know the guitar and the music is coming.
It's not coming actually.
Are you serious? Okay.
It sort of is. Okay. So first of all, props to your humor. I was laughing out loud. Actually, when I read this, we were in a meeting yesterday to discuss what we're gonna do today. And the first thing I said when I read it was like, I had a doppelganger moment. This guy is me. I am him. We're the same person. It's like the Spider-Man meme. So yeah, like
sorry. So was this your first personality? Mahita, do you remember first, second, third, fourth?
What's his first personality? Yeah.
Okay.
I really sound like that guy from Split now. Okay. Anyway, like, okay, the one thing that I could take away from this form was that you just love playing Minecraft and video games. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could talk about computer science with Minecraft. Like when you're in Minecraft, do you enjoy doing mega builds? Are you a mega build person or?
No, I just play the standard game.
Oh, it's fine. So you can talk about how Minecraft is a game about building with blocks. There's building blocks everywhere. You have to get your building blocks, or you can like make them from scratch using a crafting table. You can you know, build up a structure, and you can talk about like the process of going like complete in the game. You have to go through the nether, you have to get some blaze rods, you have to get some ender pearls, then you have to go to the end, you have to kill the ender dragon, you can kill the wither afterwards when you get another star. You can say it's a game about building blocks, and it's a game about finding your own path. And that's what, custom codes are in computer science. When you're making a custom code, you have to make your own commands. You have to make like, I don't know, I'm sorry. I'm a code.org guy. I don't know how computer science works. But yeah, you can make building blocks a super, super big thing. And if you really wanted to, and if you had the time, and if you had the unending zeal to add some music into your essay, you could say building blocks equals to musical notes make musical scales make musical pieces, and that's music with the guitar. So the main thing is, I really think you can like talk about how Minecraft and building blocks and making your own building blocks can like integrate into computer science, because anyway, Minecraft is made with Java.
Yeah.
So Akshat, I'm going to share a secret with you. The first few times when I met Rishi, he was a video game addict. His parents had lost it. They said there's nothing, we can't send him. And Rishi and I had a die-hard, deep conversation. And he promised me, he calls me captain, by the way. I'm still to know why, but neither ways. And he said, okay, you know what, captain, I promise you, I'm not going to touch. And every day for the next 1 month, he messaged me what he's done for that day and how little he played video game because I'd asked him to do it. And it's just so ironical that today he's actually helping you with a video game essay. So I can see why the first personality has come in so strongly. But Akshat, go for it. Tell us what you think, ask your questions. And children, any one of y'all want to chime in, go ahead.
Right. I love video games. So I really love the idea of using, Minecraft and correlating it to coding and stuff like that. You can use, metaphors from Minecraft with code.
Who's
Yeah, that's
talking?
me.
Okay.
Hansika?
Okay, super Hansika.
I love the idea of using, video game metaphors and stuff like that to describe your love for coding or music even. I'm sure you can do that. That's a great idea. I love video games.
Nice. What a great answer. Akshat, what are you feeling?
I was struggling to like connect all these like 3 points, and I think you guys did a great job of like pointing me in the right direction.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, Akshat. And again, Akshat, like I said, it's a very if you're doing your Minecraft and you're doing the computers, you don't have to bring the hair in.
Yeah.
But if you're doing the hair in the computers, you can bring the Minecraft in. So it's up to you. But what is really relevant for you to understand is we've not taken away your computers either ways.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nor are we going to take away your humor.
Yeah.
So be very careful. My only minor red flag here is do not, and be very careful, do not say you're an addict. Don't say you played too many hours, because that becomes a red flag with a lot of colleges. So be a little careful there.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Why do you carry that big bottle, Akshat? We have to know the answer.
Yeah, I used to carry a big bottle too. I want to know.
Yeah, Janta wants to know. Tell us.
Well, I mean, it's not like there's kind of like a deep reason, I guess, but like I'm just a lot more productive when I'm hydrated, and yeah, it's just it's easy to be consistent.
Anyone else who's doing this, carrying a big
The funny thing is, like, we're saying Minecraft and computer science, right? The funny part is Minecraft is made with Java, and like Java is big.
It was big of computer science. Yeah, no longer, but yes.
We're only using Java to make like, the Nokia Carom game now. I don't know what it's called.
I have a feeling Hansika wants to help you write your essay, Akshat. She's so excited. I can see it. I mean, but yes, Akshat, definitely. And I forget to tell you, children, yes, if you all want to work with Amy and me for your Common App essays, we will be having student specialists who always help out. I do feel Mahita and Rishi both have promised they have a lot of time and willing to help. Mahita, what are you? Oh, I think I can soon see a gong ringing. Is there a gong ringing, Ninad, or can I ask Mahita about this essay?
Just a minute left, ma'am.
Well, can I ask a question before we proceed?
Yes, Akshat.
Yeah, so I really like both those ideas, but like I think you mentioned something about like an art student who got into Stanford CS, and they talked about like how like the colors like. So could you just send me that essay? I'd like to take a closer look at that if you're allowed to.
Oh my love, sorry.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
I'll speak with you. I'll tell you more details about the essay. We're not allowed to share it with non-AcceptU students.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Sorry about that, Akshat, but I will try and give you whatever information I can.
Okay. Yeah.
But fair question. Okay, let's move to, is Shloka here?
Yes, ma'am.
Shloka?
Shloka is here.
Hey, Shloka, hi, can I see you?
Hi, how are you? I am facing a problem regarding that. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Okay, Shloka, what
Yeah.
I love about you, and that's pretty obvious, is your simple integrity towards honesty. But most important, I love the fact that you can look at yourself and say, I needed to change. I needed to give myself a pause. I needed to allow myself to not overwhelm myself or overthink of myself and let the chaos soak in, right? Obviously, it's very powerful what you've gone through and how you've come out of it, taking the best way forward. So I don't want to describe it in details because it's personal, but those make the best essay.
Right.
Okay, so if an essay that starts with saying that I need to be loved by my own self too,
right,
okay, it's beautiful. But I also really love the line where you said, getting featured into a movie won't be bad along the way either.
Yeah.
Love that line. So we could actually start with, I need to be loved by my own self too. And then let's talk about, like a little bit of an equation. So your self-understanding or self-acceptance is the topic. And we talk about equation. So let's say problem. Let's say math grades into, or math into low grades is equal to anxiety plus, screaming at home, question mark. How do I balance the equation? And the balance is what you did or how you did and how you gave yourself a little time to go over it. So for me, if you notice, children, I'm very big on breaking structures. I think if I had to read 35,000 essays over 3 months, I'd want to see Breaking Bad. I'd want to see different structures. Okay, so I had a child use the equations who she got into USC and Princeton, went to USC, and I'm talking about 3 years ago. This was very interesting because her aspect of the equation balance was how she brought coding into all of them. So Akshat, Hansika, all my coders, all the other kids who are coders here, I end up working with 90% computer science students. Don't know why. Don't know anything about computer science, but they are the most aggressive, ambitious ones. And they know if they want to get in, they end up coming to me. But I'm just saying that I never make them write about computer science unless it's a kickback. So even for your case, Shloka, that equation pattern seems to make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
So try and think about it. It also shows, you're looking at digital media. So a little bit of creativity. And business is all about not necessarily selling, but also understanding the ability to come up with a product or a solution when you see someone in a problem.
Right.
Right now, you didn't tell me if you've ever started a company or come up with an idea to start a business, because that's going to be super important. If you haven't ever, Shloka, we need you to think that way, because NYU, UCLA doesn't have business, in case you didn't know this, and UC Berkeley, if that's the one you've written, UCB or?
Yeah, it's Berkeley.
So Berkeley doesn't allow you business. You have to go non-decided or undecided for 2 years. So which is why I want to show leadership and the initiative to start something. So start thinking about that. If you do, we'll do a call later, but I'm just saying, I need you to start thinking of what you've gone through and how you've used that to come up with an idea is very important. And we all know post the pandemic, there is a lot that's happening with children. There's emotional issues, there's mental issues. So there's something you could be working on. It would be great to see it. Who's my student?
That's me.
Awesome, Mahita, join in.
So firstly, I had 2 views towards her form. Firstly, like Auntie said, self-worth. I think also as a major in business, self-worth holds a great importance and you can write greatly on it. And how you face challenges in the idea of growing towards business and how your own belief in yourself helped you develop there. And other idea, I'm not sure how much it'll work, but I'll really have to put it out there, is about you visiting an old age home. because actually I related that a lot to my essay. Mine was more about how my grandfather or from an older generation implemented and his influence in my life. So that's something also that you could probably write about is how,
Right.
you know, you visited an old age home, its influence on yourself personally, how you related, and you know, how you are trying to get an older generation to view in your generation or current modern views. So that conflict can also be something you can write about though.
Yeah.
I like the conflict of views, definitely, Mahita. I'm a little nervous about the old age home and the influence simply because keep in mind 30 to 60,000 essays, 25% Indians writing 75% of the times of a non-profit influence.
Right.
Now, if, however, Shloka, an old age home is the idea that you carry with you. It's an
Right.
initiative that you're doing. And again, I'll talk about one of my children who got into What In, and I would think Rishi and Mahita both would know her. So she, hardcore feminist, and she speaks about working with women. And then the pandemic broke down. Then she started collecting smartphones and gave it to them and started teaching them upskilling. And then she started her own nonprofit. So when she wrote an essay about, she was sent for, what are they called? Finishing school, right? And she was like, why? Why do women have to go to finishing school? Why do we need finishing up? And then she, you know, and so the essay was really different. And she speaks about a very, how may I say, the word being privileged when you're going to a finishing school in Switzerland. But she manages to bring her feminist in when she was applying to a business program because her nonprofit initiative was about feminism and women.
Right.
So if you're doing this old age home, I'd love it if your nonprofit initiative or your business idea was something in that area.
Right.
Does that
I only
make
have
sense,
one
Mahita?
question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I only had one question. So I have heard from my friends and the alumni that it is hard to give that one hit to the college because sometimes they would feel that the personal level is not going good to them. So do you think it is very important to give that aspect of your personal life so they can connect more, or would it be very cliche for them to read?
If we're only talking about and visiting the old age home and influencing me and teaching me and making me learn, I will not hesitate to tell you it might be cliche. It's simply because I'm
No,
working
that
with,
I could understand that it could be cliche, but talking about something I went through, I mean, 80%
yeah, what you went through. Yeah, what you personally went through. Here's the thing. There's another area called the additional information aspect. Where you can write a 500 word, which is if something is not covered in your application, and children, this is for all of you. If you all have gone through a personal or a mental breakdown or a challenge of any kind and not been able to really pull that out in your application or didn't want to pull it out, you can use the additional information space to talk about it. But Shloka, in your case, I think your Common App essay must talk about it.
Okay.
What do you think, Mahita?
Also, to add on, Shloka, I think what you have gone through personally, on that aspect, maybe if you could work on it, like create a website where you could talk to other people who are struggling with a similar thing or something like that, that you can add as an extracurricular that they'll really look into.
Right.
But then making that one topic a 650-word essay, I'm not sure how much it'll keep those admission officers gripped to it.
Yeah.
You can make an initiative out of it and keep it as an extracurricular. That will be golden. I mean, it'll really, really help.
Always. It could be your dark cloud, but the focus should be the silver lining, not the dark cloud.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay.
Children, sorry, there's some personal aspects that we try and keep personal. In this case, I wanted to keep a part of it personal, but does anyone want to add in anything or want to know anything, or should I move on to the next student? Any child can add on or talk about something that's personal for them and want to know about it.
Well, this is something off topic, but I just wanted to say, Rishi, I really like your profile picture. That's super off topic, just had to say that.
I'm glad. It's nice. See how cool is that? I agree, Hansika. Okay, let's move to Avyay. Avyay is here. Is Avyay here? Ninad, you need to tell us.
No, ma'am, I can't see him. Let's go to the next one. I'll call him again.
So the next one is actually the one that you made me kick out earlier. Palak, is she there with us?
Even she's facing some technical issues, ma'am.
Okay, which means 2 of my children are no longer there, but great. I'd like to talk about them either ways. So Palak, for example, very ordinarily filled form, very simple things, no great stuff, but she speaks about being a big fan of the Marvel universe. Now, girls, one of the few things that colleges are always looking at is what makes you you, what makes you unique. A girl speaking about Marvel and Dumbledore, I love Marvel. I'm obsessed with Marvel. Like even during the pandemic, when I was in US, I wore 3 masks and went for the movie. My son refused to go with me, by the way. So I'm just saying that those are very interesting essays. I'd love her to be able to do a take on Marvel and Harry Potter and then talk, about her hearing, learning, and understanding of that imaginary worlds. I thought that would be a very, very cool essay. Is there anyone else who's a Marvel fan here?
Yep.
Who's this? Tell me.
Hansika.
Oh my God, Hansika, are you a fan of everything?
Sure, there's nothing I don't like.
Okay, so again, Marvel's a very interesting essay. Girl, Marvel, wanting to do engineering or computer science, very interesting take.
I'd
Okay.
actually say the more hot take here is a girl liking DC.
Yeah, I like DC. That's not a very rare thing.
I mean, come on, yeah, sure. What's there, Rishi?
Oh, you haven't seen the new ones then. You haven't seen the new comics and they're terrifying. They're terrifying.
I'm gonna read them just because you
I
dare
get,
put
I get
us in a
nightmares
position.
because I'm a Batman fan.
I'm a Batman fan too.
I don't like Batman at all. Okay, we are obviously moving ahead and now it's going to slap us. But that's okay. Avyay, I actually really was hoping he's here because his essay is the cutest. He says, I am the guy who can answer all the questions about computers, but I'm also the guy who has the worst dance moves. So you know what my essay topic would have been for him? Opening hook would have been, and it would start like this. Everybody go left. Avyay, left. Everybody, 2 beat move with your hips. Avyay, I said 2, not 5. And then it would be, that would be scene 1. Then that would be scene 2. Okay. Can anybody answer the -- code of C++? Avyay, not you. How do we explain -- of AI and MLT? And can someone besides Avyay please raise their hand? So this is how I would have introduced this essay. That would have been my opening hook. So children, whoever is here, here's what you will notice. And if you all have time, let's quickly go through. Ninad, can we go through the presentation so you understand what's the opening hook, closing hook? Is that okay, kids? You all can unmute yourself and say yes or say no, we want to do questions. Both is fine.
Ma'am, I think
Yes, Ninad?
Anisha is left, ma'am.
Anisha. Okay, so sorry. Give me a second. Anisha. Was she mine? Let me go through. Anika. Harika. Palak, Akshat, Shloka, Avyay. These are the ones I have.
Anisha, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Anisha, were you the runner?
No.
Oh dear. So, Anisha, unfortunately, it seems Amy might have missed out on you. So here's what we're going to do, Anisha. I don't have you for sure. Anisha, would you be okay if I did with you separately?
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Or do you want to tell us a little about you, and Rishi, Mahita, and I can all jump in and try and help, and I'll do the later one anyway. Tell us a little about you. Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, so I took science for 11th and 12th, but like I'm not sure that I want to like do anything in that field. Like I'm considering other options. I sing. I play volleyball. I'm the team captain.
Okay. And what do you think makes you now stop the presentation for now? Let me just take a look at the children. We'll go back to it. It's not, yeah. Okay. So Anisha, tell me, what do you think makes you unique? Tell me stories like you've heard here, carrying a bottle, long hair. What do you think is your unique aspect?
It's kind of hard to answer when you're put on the spot.
Oh, sorry.
But
I'm almost glad we're doing this, because sometimes this is important as well.
yeah. I mean, I mostly like when I memorize something like for exams or like anything, if I have a speech, I memorize it in the form of a song because I sing. Like,
wow.
I memorize the speech or whatever by like thinking of it as like a lyric or like something like that.
Oh, very nice. Any of the students, do you all have Akshita? Hello.
I had Anisha.
You had Anisha, go ahead. Why don't you discuss it then, Mahita?
I think firstly, you mentioned that you are a pretty outgoing person. So in that aspect, I thought that maybe you could also specify your essay on how perspectives of being an outgoing person and meeting new people every time that influences you as a person. But I think, yeah, I think that's one of the ideas you can use. Another, you also mentioned that you were a shy person growing up, right? And how you started getting out, and then you are now playing for your volleyball team as well. So you can also probably highlight that transition and how or what has influenced you to grow in that aspect. I think these two are two prompts I thought of when I read your form.
Awesome. And Anisha, I've actually found your form. It must have gone to Amy, but I pulled you up. So I love the fact that you want to study law. Now, a very big aspect about law is to hear everything and reach a judgment, right? So I'd love you to be able to show your logic in reaching a problem is equal to solution. How do you go about it? So, the fact that you wanted to study science, what made you choose that science was your calling? What made you choose science was not your calling is another way of, talking about it. Then you spoke about the Maltese, a dog. Okay. Did you have to do a lot of convincing, a lot of presentation to talk about your dog? So if that would make a very beautiful story. So a little aspects of, steps to make a problem turn to a solution. And we could talk a little about the different ways you took to a solution. Okay. You speak about the black ice on the roads. What was the steps that took you to the solution? What were the steps that took you from not having a dog to getting one of a dog? What were the steps from moving to a science to a student of, towards economics or policy, or even something like what took you from a cleaning up drive where you started yourself to taking it further. So there are a lot of pure aspects about you, your love for animals, your love for environment, your love for being an optimistic person. So I would think that would make a very nice essay, is if I could see a problem become a solution. So you could do it something like a 5-step problem to solution approach, and that's how your essay could be. And you could take 3 problems and how you took them into a solution. And then your last would be that, my problem in college will be 600, 350 different majors, 225 different student clubs, 4,000 different students, 65 different diversities. What would be your 5-step towards making this into a solution? So that could be your last paragraph. Oh, I actually really like that. What do you think, Mahita?
Yeah, I think that's pretty unique. And it does highlight of how she is as a person. So,
right?
yes. Yeah.
Because she's a very optimistic person. So a 5-step or a 3-step approach, for a problem to be a solution.
Yeah, and like Auntie
That
said,
could be your
can
essay.
Connect law and perspectives from different people. You can connect those two as well and write an essay.
Mahita, a little loudly, please.
No, I was just saying she could also connect being an outgoing person and knowing different perspectives to law as a subject as well.
So Anisha, what did you think?
Yeah, it kind of gave me a little bit more clarity about how to approach my essay. So yeah.
Okay. Perfect. So any questions, Anisha?
No, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, children. You guys need to decide, do you all want to do a presentation or should we just do a Q&A? I mean, I really can't take the decision.
For the presentation.
Sorry?
I vote for presentation.
Okay, awesome. So should we do the presentation then? Okay, Ninad, start with the presentation. It's an important presentation actually, children, and short. So hopefully it'll really help you. Ninad, we can do the presentation. Start from the beginning. Ninad, beginning, please. Yes. Okay, next one. Okay, you have a lot of topics that your Common App give to you. A lot of children say, okay, let me select my topic and then write my essay. I, as a person, say, no, write your essay and then let's see where the topic would kind of work towards it and then make changes accordingly. Some students have a background identity. Like today, when we spoke about little things about what your interest is, what your identity is, correct? Like the book essay, let's say for, I think it was Versace, that's a background, that's an identity of who you are. Or when we speak about the mad scientist, that's again, something we can put into background, okay? The next one, lessons we take from obstacles. Now, I believe for your case, Shloka, this was a very important essay that you could look at. Hansika, there's definitely seemed to be a trend of how you looked at a problem, made it into a solution as well. Okay, reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or an idea. I'd like to say when we talk about the essay I spoke about, that why do I have to go for finishing school? That's reflecting on a time when you challenged a belief or an idea. Okay, move on, Ninad. Reflect on something that has, that someone has done for you that's made you happy. How has that gratitude affected you? Now, this is an essay for one of my children. I think it was Anika, a huge traveler. Something you can think about. There's always going to be that little something that you've taken everywhere. Every country that you've gone, you're happy or thankful in a very surprising way. How has that impacted you? This has been a post-COVID prompt that's been added. So obviously college counselors or college admissions officers get very excited to see, has this really been a part of your life? Gratitude is a huge word. So it's a very beautiful aspect that you can consider. Discuss an accomplishment event. So the old age home, for example, an accomplishment, an event that sparked a personal growth, right? Even for someone like when we speak about Minecraft, so it's an event, it's a realization how a video game can actually lead to something like that. Okay, describe a topic, idea, or concept you find so engaging that it makes you lose track of time. Now, this again, I think more even for our physics students or our computer students here, the crazy computer student idea I gave to you, Akshat, where you talk about your hair, it's a topic, it's an idea. You forget, you're so engaged that you lose all track of time. So your hair and that would be a beautiful combination. Even in your case, some kids, the fact that you're so involved in your physics, you've forgotten everything else is a very beautiful topic for you. And then, of course, an essay of your choice. Ninad, next. Okay. What is your story? Every time we've discussed you already, ask yourself these questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What matters to me? What makes me unique? How does it align with my goals? What do I have to show about who I am? So it's a whole story that we connect. Kids, please take a picture of this. It sounds stupid, but believe me, when you get down to writing your essay, you'll be like, I don't know what to write. The brain freeze that Rishi is talking about happens. It's real. And Mahita and Rishi can talk about their experiences in a bit. But please take a photo of this. Ask yourself this question. Will help you write your story. Mahita, Rishi, what do you think? I mean, do you think these are frivolous, irrelevant, or did it help you?
No, they are pretty relevant because I think when you come down to jotting down your essay, you are absolutely lost. You don't know where to start from and where to go by the ending. So I think these points really remind you on your basis on what you're supposed to keep the essay on.
Rishi?
Like they are relevant, but like some of the points depend on which prompt you're taking. So like I took like how my hobbies define me. So it doesn't align with my goals, but all the rest of the points are like super important. So just the fifth point, it depends on what topic you're taking for your essay.
The goal need not be academic also. And Rishi is correct.Maybe one question is irrelevant, but your goal could be, why are you writing this essay? What do they want you to know? What do you want them to know? Leadership, or the fact that you've gone through a mental issue, or the fact that you have a handicap, or the fact that your life is only about physics, and it may not reflect into your grades, let's say. I'm just giving random examples here. So you choose what your goal is. Okay, next. How do we show it? Okay, as you see, what we try and do is we'll review the questionnaire. There'll be another questionnaire, yes. We analyze it, we look for patterns or themes, as you saw today. So what we've done already is answering this. What topic best showcases you? How can we express or expand it? Should we connect it to your major or not? And then start writing. Believe me, the seventh one's the toughest. We can do all the analysis we want. Start writing is a huge problem. And I have seen this with Rishi. He really struggled. He's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe this essay, maybe that essay. With Mahita, poor girl had me and her counselor at a total dead end. So, Mahita, share your story with your essay, and Rishi, you can say, how you worked with your counselors or me.
So should I go first?
Yes, Mahita, go.
So actually, I had about 5-6 ideas that I told my counselor about. And she helped me pick which is the best one. And that was, like I mentioned, about the influence of my grandfather on my life. But I think after we finished up till the 6th draft, there were 6 drafts. Priyanka aunty came in between and she said, you can make these changes. And they were pretty contrast to what me and my counselor worked on. So then I started rechanging all the 650 words, and most of the parts which I was thinking were the best parts, I had to change all of it again. And then by the end of the day, I think it was the 8th or 9th draft or something like that, after so many edits and all, I think the best version did come out.
Yeah.
So I think firstly, when you start writing, you go to maybe even up to 750 or 850 words. But as your counselor starts cutting down on the words and all, that's how you'll start getting to, then you'll get to 500 or something way beyond or lower than 650. And then you'll be able to add on and put the proper details and remove the unnecessary stuff. And that's when you'll come to a proper 600, 650 words.
Valid point. And please save every single draft. Okay, kids? Rishi?
I think that was actually quite the contrary to what Mahita experienced. So step 6 was the easiest for me. I decided not to include my major in the first place because I'm a completely different person in the lab and outside of the lab. So in the lab, you're gonna think I'm some geek who doesn't know anything but chemistry. Outside the lab, you're gonna think I'm some random chill dude who knows everything but chemistry. So I felt like the bigger part of me lies outside the lab, and I felt like I can only reflect that through my literature and through music. So I was like, okay, Obi, we're gonna take this. Okay, cool. So I had about 12 drafts of my Common App essay. There were like 500,000 drafts. And we started off super small. We started with a good 350 words that I could definitely say are the biggest things that happened to me. And then Obi was like, okay, now look for smaller things that can help, build your profile a little more. And I was like, okay, cool. This is the part that took the longest because the small things are you're super forgetful about those. So just to remember the small things, it takes super long. So once we had that down, it was just a matter of rephrasing finding out, ways that we can tie in everything together, decide on what to write, like what to write on and what not to write on, like which stuff is necessary, which stuff I don't need to include to make my Common App essay stronger and stuff like that. So you can start off like how I did or how Mahita did, depending on whether you're comfortable with a bigger word count or a smaller word count.
Or your own approach, and that's fine. And children, there's one thing I'd like to add. Please find one mentor for your essay. Don't make it your parents. Don't necessarily make it your close friend, but try and get one mentor. Could be an English teacher, could be someone like us, could be an external counselor, could be your personal school counselor. But please have a mentor, because how you are writing it and falling in love is not how someone else is reading it and falling in love. So it's very important to have that one person connect. Okay, let's move on, Ninad. Structure of the essay. So you heard me. Opening hook, closing hook, failure, learning, outcome. So your opening hook is what draws the reader into the essay. Keep reminding yourself. Your entire application will be read between 8 to 11 minutes, out of which at least 2 minutes is spent on the Common App. It's huge. It's very important. Okay, so you have to draw the reader. They're reading, I've always said, 30,000 plus essays. Your opening hook is important. Don't start with my name is blah, blah, blah. Please don't start with randomly quote. Quotes are the worst way to start. Whoever's told you it makes sense is not your mentor, okay? And I should know, I'm part of the IACAC, NACAC, part of the essay specialist, working with over 55 schools in the country, as well as in Middle East and Africa. Believe me, sweetie, when I say this, okay? Closing hook. If you connect your story back, if you have started with saying, like, one of the kids we were discussing, have you ever thought why alphabets are different and numbers are not? But in the end, you are like, it's not true. Numbers are also different, or something that you go back to. The opening and closing hook, it makes the reader smile because they feel they become a part of your personal story. Okay, so this is important to take back. Needn't be the case, but more or less, if I had to give you a generic structure, it would be this. Next, Ninad. Opening hook. When you start writing, don't worry about the first line. Bring yourself to the present moment. You could talk about the imagery, details, use an active voice, loop it to the next paragraph. Looping is very important. If you're following a structure, I should know where you finish the first paragraph and why the second paragraph is starting where it's starting, unless it's an unstructured essay where every paragraph is different. But then make sure your closing hook loops the entire paragraphs together. Okay, next, Ninad. Must-haves. The essay must identify your core value. So when we speak about what are your goals, it could be your core values. Be open and vulnerable. If you're not willing to scratch yourself and pull out the hurt, the resentment, the fear, the failures in a positive way and show it, chances are your essay is shallow. Show, not tell. You've heard me say that 5.5 times or more. Focus on the style and tone. That's important. Don't just say, I'll write it, bang it out 2 days before the final date. Don't do that. They also need to feel respected. When I get an essay draft, I always tell my children, make me feel respected. Make me feel that there's something I've taught you and you're giving me back. However shapely, unshapely, gruesome it is, but make me feel respected, that there's something you've followed down to the path. Next. What not to do. Language and content, be very careful. You can't be abusive. You can't have content which is not accepted. Don't make it like a resume. Please, please don't make it sound like your achievements. If I see the word proud in an essay, I make that student write the whole essay again. Because if you are proud about something, let's not have you write your essay. And this is something you'll find in Barack Obama's books. If you like reading, I'm a crazy reader. Don't overdo the volunteering bit. You all have already kind of got the drift of that. India, volunteering, thoda zyada ho raha hai. Be careful. It is your story. Don't over talk about others. Okay. you might be very influenced by your sister or your mother or the uncle who's teaching at Harvard. But if you're writing only about your uncle who's teaching at Harvard and not about yourself, why would the admissions officer want you? They'll reach out to your uncle who's teaching at Harvard, right? Stupid joke, but just telling you, right? Be careful. I'd like to say what I like to do. At the end of the essay, I tell my children, highlight what I get to know about you in every paragraph. If that's not 60% of the paragraph, that paragraph is irrelevant. Okay, you guys can try it. Next, please. Closing hook, circle it to opening. Don't end it abruptly. Bring the main message. I need to thus know who you are. Why have you written this whole thing? And leave an impact where they're like, that 2 words that they carry with you, or they're like, oh, I really want to meet this kid. This sounds so much like how Rishi said, my first personality, my second personality. And Mahita and I were just laughing because every kid had a personality meet with Rishi. So, you know, your essay should be able to have something that you leave behind. Okay, next, Ninath. Yeah, that's our contact. Perfect. Children, I'm hoping you all will contact us, but if not, that's fine. As long as you all are happy with what we've done, let's shut the presentation enough. And kids, questions. Mahita, Rishi, thank you so much for this. This was awesome fun. And I'm so glad I got to do. We did have one more child, actually, you know, kids. Vanya was going to be a part. There was an emergency. Last minute, these 2 were banged with 4 more forms, 2 each. So thank you so much. Anisha, thank you for doing a quick adjustment and a take with us. Amy must have completely forgotten. But if you think you still want another 10 minutes, I'll more than happily have Amy or me do it for you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you not sulking or reacting badly about it. Kids, tell us first what you didn't like or what you liked. Anyone?
Can I go ahead?
Yes, Anika.
I think it was very creative that you also brought in students to help us and give their own opinions because they've gone through the process instead of just having adults giving us feedback. I think that was a great touch. And I appreciated that we got like case specific feedback. You really tried to understand our stories and tried to align your feedback to that, which is really helpful. And I think it's given me clarity on what to focus on and what not to focus on. So thank you for that.
That is so kind, Anika. That is overwhelmingly sweet. Thank you so much, beta. Anyone else?
Yeah.
This was super helpful. I, got advice that was catered to,
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Sachi, for interrupting you. Go ahead.
That's okay, Hansika. You finish it now, and then Sachi can go next.
I was just saying,
Yeah.
thank you for, giving us proper feedback that catered to each one of us, personally. Found this super helpful. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Hansika. Sachi?
First, I really like the fact that everyone was addressed personally. It's not like I didn't know. It's not only that I got to know more about what I can write about my essay, but I got to look at other people and how their essays are gonna look and what their passions are and who they are. And I think one more thing I really liked is the fact that we had 4 completely different people with 4 completely different backgrounds helping us. So we had like views, whether it be the difference in age, the difference in what they're interested in, the difference in the essays they wrote. I think I really like the diverse ideas that were coming in, and it really helped me. It gave me options. Before I was unclear of what to do, but then now I have a few options. It brings a lot of clarity and I think that clarity is really important when it comes to writing essays.
Thank you. And Sachi, I'm so glad you brought that up. In my mind, Mahita and Rishi, and I think for y'all as well, for me, the most important is to be able to see other people's essays and other people's perspectives as well, because they're stories. At the end of the day, stories make stories, right? So it's your story might influence my story, mine might influence you. So I really hope children, you all take away from that. And that's the whole point of this workshop. I mean, it's more fun when we can all be a part of it. So thank you very much for bringing that out, Sachi. Anyone wants to bring out something bad as well? I love bads. No.
It sounded like no one had their lunch today. Like speaking.
Even when we started on a breakfast note, they didn't want talking, Rishi.
Yeah.
So, anyone, any questions? Questions? Samket, Ira, any questions?
Really, just thank you for the feedback.
Most welcome.
Sorry, I do have a question.
Who's this?
Yeah, Anika.
Oh, yes, please ask.
I was wondering,
Like
so
you,
if we
Anika.
want to, if we want to continue with AcceptU, what's the process like?
So I try and not make my workshops commercial. I will reach out to you. Ninad's job is the commercial aspect. He must be gleeing with pleasure. He's like, finally, someone's talking money. So he's going to reach out to you. We'll talk to you about the different packages, beta, because you're also now applying this year. So we need to kind of tell you all the different packages you can look at. And hopefully, I really hope you work with us. If nothing, at least work with us for the Common App essay.
Thank you.
Appreciate you asking that. Anyone else? Kids, y'all have Ninad's number. Reach out to Ninad if y'all are interested in knowing more about us. That's very appreciative at the end of the day. Also, we have Ninad share the last page. We have our Instagram. If you can go and put a comment of what you liked, even a small comment, it really helps us a lot because other children then reach out to us. Not going to push you to do it, but it's really nice if y'all can do it. Thank you, each one of you, for taking out so much time. Means a lot. I already feel very attached to each one of you. And that's a bad part about me. I get attached to my kids. And I want to know your stories. I want to know how you write your essays. I want to know where you all go. Sorry about that. But I'm getting a little emotional. But more than anything, Mahita and Rishi, thank you. And I should be a person with lots of words, but I absolutely love what you all have done today. Just on a straight whim of me to be able to take out time and help means a lot. We will be doing a lot of such workshops because I think giving back to this world is very important. And I will be reaching out to both of you.
Yeah, we didn't really take our time. We have too much time.
Yeah, and I'll be visiting Hyderabad really soon, Mahita. So, and Rishi. So Mahita, Rishi, you, and I mean, the two of you and me are, in fact, even Ninad will be coming. So we'll all catch up for a coffee.
Whoa, I don't drink coffee, but that's so cool.
We'll catch up for your kind of music personality disorders then. Lunch.
Yes.
Awesome. Take care. Thank you,
I had a question.
everyone. Who's this? Who had a question?
Me.
Yes, Rishi.
I have a very off-beat question. Do we have another book club?
Yes, I do run a book club. In fact, yes, Rishi, I'm starting a book club next month. So hopefully Ninad's going to beat me up. He doesn't want me to do more of these things, but we have some interesting things coming up. So you, Mahita, are going to be approached by us. Perfect. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you, everyone, for the time. And Ninad, especially to you. You're our unsung hero. You do all the hard work.
No worries at all, ma'am. Thank you, Rishi. Thank you, Mahita.
Thank you. Take care. Bye, kids.
Thank you. Bye.
And
Thank you. Bye.
bye.
Oh, and okay, shit.